Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Tuesday, the 17th of December, 2024. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 finished up 0.8% today to 8,314 points. Plenty of winning sectors. Real estate investment trusts did well, so too healthcare stocks, industrials and technology groups. The biggest losers were the energy stocks. The big banks all did well, so too Goodman Group, Aristocrat Leisure, REA and Pro Medicus, not so good. BHP and Woodside. A few interesting corporate news items today. PEXA, the property settlement exchange backed by Commonwealth Bank, jumped 8% after announcing a new CEO. Novonix jumped as much as 16% before settling up 5% after it received conditional approval for a loan from the US Department of Energy. IT services and solutions provider Data Number 3 fell 10% after changes to its partnership with Microsoft in Australia, and the Australian Energy Regulator is likely to reject APA Group's bid to have its recently acquired Basslink electricity cable converted into a regulated asset. That sent its share price lower. Story number 2, Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers will tomorrow release the mid-year economic and fiscal outlook statement, an update on how the budget's going, and he's warned not to expect any big numbers to help reduce the cost of living. Any spending for the cost of living won't stand out, Dr. Chalmers said. The focus instead will be on rolling out what has already been announced. MYEFO will have $14.6 billion worth of savings from reprioritising funding in areas like aged care reforms and the Indigenous Advancement Program, according to Finance Minister Katie Gallagher. MYEFO will confirm that the budget is back in deficit, and it will be for some time. Story number 3, BHP and Rio Tinto will join with BlueScope Steel to build Australia's largest electric iron-making furnace, a move they say may speed up the decarbonisation of steel production. The pilot project near Perth will produce 30,000 to 40,000 tonnes of molten iron a year and will initially use natural gas and hydrogen supplied by consortium partner Woodside to reduce iron ore to direct reduced iron, according to a joint statement from the companies. Once operational, the project aims to use hydrogen to generate the power, according to Bloomberg. The technology could reduce emissions by up to 80% if renewables and green hydrogen are used. The project may help show iron ore sourced from the Pilbara region of Australia can be smelted using an electric furnace rather than traditional blast furnaces, which are powered by coal. More than 70% of steel is currently produced using coal. Story number 4, Optus sold mobile phone plans to vulnerable Australians, including a deaf and mute homeless man and an elderly man with Alzheimer's disease who later collapsed in one of its stores, according to the consumer watchdog. That's its allegations. It also created fraudulent contracts with First Nations people, according to the allegations. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission is suing Optus for unconscionable conduct, saying it not only sold products to people it knew couldn't afford them, but sold their unpaid bills to debt collection agencies, according to a story in The Australian. It even sold debt to third parties when Optus senior management and its parent Singtel knew some consumers had no knowledge of the contracts, which appeared forged. Optus, which has since apologised to consumers, also dismantled its profit protection team, responsible for investigating suspected compliance issues during the height of the allegations, despite protestations from staff, the ACCC alleges. This is the ACCC side of the story. We are still to hear from Optus. And story number 5, Donald Trump lost his request to toss his conviction in the New York hush money case on presidential immunity grounds, though the case may not proceed to sentencing as the president-elect continues to challenge the verdict. The judge ruled that Trump had failed to properly raise objections to most of the evidence he claimed was subject to immunity, except for the testimony of one witness. The judge said that even if the challenged evidence fell within Trump's presidential authority, prosecutors used it to prove decidedly personal acts of falsifying business records, and that there is no danger of intrusion on the authority and function of the executive branch. Finally, Justice Juan Merchan said that any possible error in admitting evidence was harmless, in that it would not have changed the overwhelming evidence of guilt against Trump. That's it for the afternoon report for Tuesday, the 17th of December, 2024. Make sure you hit follow on the podcast. We'll be back tomorrow morning with a Wednesday edition of the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.